Whether you are shopping, dining, or doing business in Stillwater, we would like to take the opportunity to let you know about public parking in 3 areas around Stillwater: downtown Stillwater, Campus Corner, and the Strip on Washington Street. In these areas, many of the free city parking spots, mostly in the street, are timed. Time ranges from 30 minutes to 3 hours Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and these spaces are not timed on weekends and city-recognized holidays. The purpose for these timed parking spots is to give everyone equal opportunity to a parking space, which is not only good for other people visiting these areas, but is a benefit to the businesses in these areas as well. Now, say for instance you're cited for overtime parking as you're inside a business. Well, instead of paying the $10 citation, you can easily bring it back to one of more than 200 businesses in these 3 areas to have the ticket validated. All you have to do is give them the ticket and that's it. They'll take care of the rest. For more information about public parking spaces, the validation program, or tickets, call the Municipal Court at the City of Stillwater at 405-742-8255 or visit stillwater.org.
This is Kyle Gibbs with the Stillwater Police Department. When parking in a timed parking space around Stillwater, you may notice a chalk mark on your tire. Parking enforcement uses the chalk marks to monitor vehicles. A parking attendant will mark a vehicle and return later to see if the mark is still present. If your parking time is almost up, move your vehicle to another spot. The attendant will notice the mark changed and faded and will not write a citation. If your parking time is almost up, do not attempt to remove the mark. Removing the mark will result in a fine of $549. This has been a public service announcement from the Stillwater Police Department and the City of Stillwater. Hello, I'm Captain Kyle Gibbs from the Stillwater Police Department. I speak to you today on behalf of Chief Ryan McCarron, Fire Chief Tom Bradley, and Public Safety Director Norman McNichol, all Stillwater safety staff, and myself to say thank you for those who stepped up during the tragedy on October 24th. You didn't need to ask what to do, but you administered first aid, you comforted the injured, and you transported those in need to the hospital. You showed leadership until the first responders arrived on scene. We know who you are. You are Stillwater strong. You are compassionate, and you are its pioneering spirit. We may not know your names, we may not recognize you on the street, and we may not know whose lives you save, but we want to say thank you. You may not think you did something heroic, but we know better. Our prayers are with those still affected by this tragedy, and we are grateful for you and all of our first responder partners who assisted our officers that day. Stillwater is a better, stronger place because of all of you. Thank you from the City of Stillwater.
Huh? No. We're missing the brains of the athlete.
She's gone. Elaine's gone.
It's too bad. We should have canceled. The rest of us haven't wanted to.
Whole month canceled.
Too bad.
It's incredible. I don't even know some of them because they won't even come talk to you. Now they're standing the door at
Down to 0.
Oh, we're here. Good evening. We're going to wait one more minute. Here he comes. Sorry. It's okay. Good evening. Welcome to the December 7th City Council meeting. I call this meeting to order, and we have a special guest tonight to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. His name is Darren Zaffardino. Darren, would you please come forward? And would everybody please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you for being here, Darren, and for leading us in the pledge. Tell us what school you go to.
Lincoln Academy.
Great, and who are your teachers at Lincoln?
I have Scott Peterman and Mr. Frisbee.
Great, okay. Is there anything special you want to talk about Lincoln, or I think we talked earlier. Tell us what you do as an extracurricular activity.
I'm also a student at Meridian Technology Center for Healthcare Technician, pretty much a certified nurse's assistant and medical assistant.
That's great. That's great. When did you start that?
Last year.
Very good. So you do that in conjunction with your Lincoln?
Yes, ma'am. I do that in the evenings and I go to Lincoln in the morning.
Very, very commendable. Good job.
A lot of work.
A lot of work, yes. Yes. Counselors, do you have any questions?
No, thank you so much.
No?
I just wondered, do you intend to go on in the health profession?
Actually, my goal is to work at Payne County Sheriff's Department as a jailer and hopefully work my way up through law enforcement, but
That's great.
Good luck.
Great.
When you have goals, it always makes it better. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to come down there. We have a small gift for you. Okay, and before we get started, sitting to my right is Norman McNichol, and he is the interim city manager. So, Norman, welcome.
Thank you. This is a different perspective.
It certainly
After
is.
these many years.
It certainly is. Okay, on the consent docket, item number 3, counselors, does anyone wish to remove an item, or is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Consent docket.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket. Please vote. And the consent docket is approved with a vote of 4-0. And Councilor Nahara just kindly reminded me, thank you, Councilor. Councilor Zanotti is not with us tonight, so we will miss her. But anyway, we want to make sure it was a planned. She's not here. Okay, that moves us to item number 4, which is the public comment on agenda items not scheduled for public hearing. We do have one speaker, Brenda Haddad. Would you please come forward? Well, Okay. Welcome. Would you please state your name again and your address?
Oh, okay. Brenda Haddad, 1405 South Ellis in Webb City, Missouri. I'm the development director in Oklahoma for Herman and Kittle Properties. And we are looking to develop a tax credit property here in Stillwater, and that's why I'm here tonight to ask for a resolution of support. We're a company that's been in business since 1948, building single and multifamily houses, but we do specialize in tax credit multifamily. We are looking to do, for this round with Oklahoma Housing Finance Agency, a 40-unit single-family development at 223 South Drury Lane. This would consist of 40 single-family houses ranging in size from about 1,500 square feet to about 1,700 square feet, all with 2-car garages. The development will include 2 storm shelters for the use of all the people in this, as well as a community building, basketball court, playground area, and park. The rents on these would be geared towards those who are at 50% of area median income, and those rents would be $537, and 60% of area median income, and those rents would be $686. There's a strong emphasis on tenant responsibility in these houses because the goal for this particular program is at the end of the 15-year compliance period, these tenants would be able to buy these houses. So that's what makes this a little bit different than a typical multifamily development. Stillwater market studies show a strong need for affordable housing, and this is one that's a particular favorite of mine because it really is allowing the tenants to build towards something. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Counselors?
Just curious, in your other projects, you say that these clients at the end of 15 years can then purchase their homes?
Yes.
What percentage of people in your other projects actually do purchase?
Well, this is a fairly new program in the tax credit program. So you're just starting to get some developments that are getting towards the end of the 15 years. I've not been a part of one that's actually made it to the end of the 15 years yet, so it's still relatively new. And depending on how long that each tenant has lived in their house will depend on the sales price of the house at the end of the 15 years. So if they stay in it the full 15 years, they get it at quite a discount. If they're only in it like the last 5 years of the compliance period, they still get a good discount, just not as large.
Interesting. Thank you.
So the rent that they're paying now, or is it a lease or rent? Or
It's rent. It's not a lease to own, but in essence, it's almost a sweat equity.
Okay.
By
Okay.
putting that 15 years in, then you get, as much as, I think, 60% off the appraised value.
Okay.
Did you say 60%?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anyone? Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
That takes us to general orders. And Mr. McNichol, we have item A.
We have a multi-arts annual report, and I believe Nikki Wood, Executive Director for Multi-Arts, is here to present that.
Good evening.
Hello. How is everyone tonight?
Great. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. The first slide I'm going to show you is the Multi-Art Center people served. It has been updated since this slide, and the numbers are at 7178. I'm sorry, 7178. And this is a little hard to see, but you should have a copy of that report. This will be our budget for next year. It's a work in progress and has been for the last year. Before I came to Multi-Art Center, we did not have a budget, so there are some typos. There are some updated information that needs to be put on this document as well. But for the most part, the profit and loss is accurate and will serve as our basis for our budget for next year. We have done some changes, improvements over the past few months. I received a grant from the CREC for $5,000 to work on the garden and create a community garden for our summer camp students so that we could have some culinary arts classes for them this last summer and use what was in the garden to create food for the table. We had a garage sale last May that raised $1,500, and that was a community effort by everyone that brought in goods to be sold at that. We partnered with the state Arts Council, Romy Owens, an artist from Oklahoma City, and the 108 Contemporary Gallery in Tulsa for a knitting circle to support her statewide knitting project. We cleaned up the gallery, painted the walls, put in some shelves, and it's a more professional atmosphere. We partnered with the library and OSU Museum of Arts at the Postal Plaza. We expanded our class schedule to include fiber arts, spinning, weaving, knitting, crochet. Our summer camp raised about $14,000 for the center, and you can see these adorable kids here that attended it, the 5-year-old class. Tulsa Inc. was one of our first shows in the newly renovated gallery from August 13th through September 25th, and it was a partnership with the University of Tulsa Printmaking in the art department there. Oddities and Freaks was a show that we had in the gallery that brought in about $500 in sales, including a zombie walk that walked downtown. Our holiday gallery officially opened on November 1st, and we're really excited about that. We've already doubled our sales from last year with that. This is from our zombie walk, where we had area organizations participate, the museum. And we have a full board at this point. We have 4 more board members to add after the first of the year. And some of you may recognize these board members. And this year, the Oklahoma Arts Council Arts Conference will be in Stillwater. It's the second time it's been in Stillwater. It's expected to bring about 500 to 600 people in attendance to Stillwater, so we're really excited to be on the planning committee for that and be part of that show and sale. And here's a great picture of it from this year and last October. You can see the attendees. Did you have any questions you'd like to ask of me?
Councilors?
Ms. Wood, if you would, please tell the council, you're relatively new at this job, are you not? How long you've been involved with the Multi-Arts Center and when you took the job?
I started on January 25th. I'm very new. I'm very new to Stillwater. I'm from Tulsa, but I've been gone for some time and recently moved back.
Great. Glad to have you here for almost a year now. So, councilors.
What's your membership for this year?
Our memberships are changing. It was $25 for individual prices, but we're changing some of those memberships to family membership, student, senior, and individual. So that will help us create revenue for the future to be more competitive with other organizations like ours.
How many members do you have?
Around 350.
That's individual?
Individuals, yes.
Well, I was just going to say, I got a report from the OSU Museum of Art that they really enjoyed the partnership, the events that they've done in concert with you, and I would encourage you to exploit that relationship. They really enjoy working with you guys, and I mean, it's just it just mutually benefits both organizations. So.
I can only say very good things about the museum. They've really reached out to us and supported us in many ways.
It's all about teamwork.
Is the state conference in October?
Yes, around October 23rd, around that time of the year.
So that's very exciting to be able to bring in, what'd you say, 400 civic leaders?
It was in Tulsa this last October, and it had the largest attendance of over 500, so they expect even more next year.
So that leads to economic development
No doubt.
and being able to show off what a great place Stillwater is for arts, culture, entertainment, dining, etc. So we're excited to have it in Stillwater, very excited.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, item B, Mr. McNichol, public notification of the requirements of the NPDES Phase 2 and opening of the public comment period on the NPDES Phase 2 2015 through 2020 draft permit for the City of Stillwater, CC-15-139.
And Paula Dennison, Director of Community Development, is providing that report.
Good evening, Paula Dennison with Development Services. What you have before you is just the opening for public comment for our next round of the permitting cycle. They're 5-year cycles for our NPDES Phase 2, MS4, Stormwater Discharge Best Management Practices Permit. There's a lot involved in this. We have utilized a citizen group, and they have been exceptional to work with, to guide us and aid us in the drafting of this 5-year cycle of permit for the City of Stillwater. I have included in your report the dates and the timelines that we're operating under. The draft is ready. It is completed. It will be going out on the city website, posted at the library, and placed here at City Hall at the municipal building, a couple of locations for the public to view and comment on. We will set up an opportunity for them to just directly mail to probably Stormwater any comments that they have, and those will be forwarded on to me and my staff. And it will be back before you for the public hearing and the approval of the document and the signing of the permit in the January meeting, so that we can turn it in prior to the deadline, the end of January. So again, there's no action required by the council. This is just informing the public that this is the opportunity for them to be able to comment.
Okay.
Any questions?
Council, Vice Mayor.
I'm wondering, Paula, if you would be able to send a copy of the people who have been on the citizen committee so we could thank them.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And most of them hopefully will be able to attend or have some notified influence at the public hearing on January the 11th, I believe is when that's
We
going
do
to be
really
scheduled.
appreciate people who serve on these committees, and it's so behind the scenes that they don't always get the recognition that they deserve.
Yes, and we will definitely include a list of their names, if nothing else, in the packet for the council.
It is true community service, and I want to second what Vice Mayor said. Anybody else? Comments? Okay, so no action is required.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dennison. That moves us to resolutions. Item number 7, resolution number CC-15-24, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the City of Stillwater, Oklahoma, a municipal corporation, to sign and issue an election proclamation calling for a primary and general election in the City of Stillwater. Mr. Dorman.
This is the election resolution for the upcoming primary in February and general in April. And as we discussed at our last meeting, because of the presidential preference primary in March of next year, all of the filing times have been moved up. In fact, they are filing for for the presidential primary as we speak. Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, those candidates will file. But next week, beginning on the 14th and through the 16th, 14th, 15th, and 16th are the filing dates for the 2 seats for city council. So if you're interested in filing, next week is the time to file, and you do so at the county election board.
And it's the only time to file?
Yes, ma'am.
You have
That'll
3
be
days.
those
3 days, 8 to probably 5 PM or maybe 6 PM?
I think 4:30 is when she
4:30, okay. Okay, so that's on the second floor of the Payne County Election Board.
Yes.
6th in the deck. 2 seats open.
2 seats open.
Okay. Counselors, discussion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number CC-15-24. Please vote. And that resolution CC-15-24 is approved with a vote of 4-0. That takes us to item B, resolution number CC-15-25, a resolution certifying that a public hearing was conducted on December 2nd, 2015, for the purpose of receiving comment on potential environmental impacts of the Stillwater Utilities Authority proposed Water 2040 water distribution and storage projects. Mr. Dorman.
This is simply a resolution that certifies that a hearing was held last week on the potential environmental impacts of the Water 2040 projects. Mr. Millis and the engineers with the project were here in attendance and conducted the hearings pursuant to notice that was filed on several dates in the news press. And I would report to you that they did conduct those hearings in a proper and appropriate way, and would ask that you authorize this resolution of compliance.
Okay, counselors, discussion?
Motion approved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution CC-15-25. Please vote. And resolution CC-15-25 is approved with a vote of 4-0. That moves us to item C, resolution CC-15-26, a resolution in support of a housing tax credit application by Herman and Kittle Properties, Inc. for development of single-family housing to be located at 223 South Drury Street, Stillwater, Oklahoma. Mr. Dorman, that's what we just heard from our speaker.
And I don't know that there's anything I need to add. Approval of this will allow them to go forward with requesting financing pursuant to the available programs that this would encompass.
Counselors, discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve resolution CC-15-26. Please vote. And that resolution, CC-15-26, is approved with a vote of 4-0. That moves us to reports from officers and boards. Mr. Dorman, we'll go with you first. Item A.
Items A1 and 2, request executive session pursuant to 25 OS subsection 307B4 for the purpose of confidential communication regarding workers' compensation claims filed by John Dilley and Ray Dobson. It's my opinion that public disclosure of these matters will seriously impair the ability of the City Council to process these claims and/or conduct an investigation and/or to prosecute or defend any resulting litigation or proceeding in the public interest. Second item, which is actually item A3, request an executive session pursuant to 25 OS subsection 307B1 for the purpose of confidential communication regarding the employment, appointment, promotions, demotion, disciplining, resignation of interim city manager Norman McNichol. That's all I have tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dorman. Mr. McNichol, item B.
No items.
Okay.
Thank you.
Counselors,
Nothing here.
we have news.
Oh, I do have an announcement.
Oh, Vice Mayor, please.
The plans for the Martin Luther King celebration are moving along. The ad hoc committee that we approved as a council, has been working hard. And they sent me a note about the choir, the large choir that they are forming for the January 18th celebration. You don't have to be a fabulous singer. You just have to enjoy using your voice, perhaps, in an organized way. Practices are at Mount Zion, at 9th and Knobloch from 7 to 8 on December 8th and 15th, and then there'll be 2 practices after the first of the year. Contact me if you need more information about that.
And even if you're not a good singer, you could do what they did to my son in Freshman Follies and just turn off his mic.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's
Braxton.
going to be a great, exciting celebration this year, so I hope
It is.
everyone will try to make that. And I think I have another announcement.
You do.
I do.
I'll go first, and then you can find yours. Breakfast with Santa is Saturday from 9 to 11 at the Community Center, and tickets are $3 per person. You can enjoy pancakes and photos with Santa, and for all holiday events, including downtown Stillwater's events, visit stillwater.org and click on the calendar link. Councilor Nahara, do you have?
For our rural residents, the Stillwater Fire Department is accepting 2016 rural fire service contracts. If you live outside the city limits, this is a great way to have peace of mind and cap the amount of damages you'd be responsible in case of a fire. Visit stillwater.org or call Fire Administration for details. That was tough for me to read.
Vice Mayor.
Big words.
Big words.
Yeah.
Rural.
April sounds so far away, but artists are invited to apply for the 39th annual Stillwater Arts Festival. Applications for this juried art show will be accepted until January 31st, so you really don't have very much time to get those in. Go to zapplication.com and search for Stillwater Arts Festival.
And something that's not very far away is next week is Glass Recycling Week, so make sure to put out your glass by your curbside. Okay,
We are an amazing source of information, aren't we?
we really are. We really are. So we've already reminded people if they want to apply for city councilor, but I'm just going to say it one more time. You have from December 14th to the 16th to apply to be a city councilor. Okay, that moves us to appointments. And under item A, the Charter Review Committee. First of all, I want to thank the counselors for making the nominations. Before I make nominations, I want to be clear as to why we are assembling this committee. Mr. Dorman, you're going to lead this committee, the Charter Review Committee, and Vice Mayor Darlington will serve as a council member for this committee. This is a limited charter review. Am I correct in that?
Yes, ma'am. We did a general review back in 2007, but we have some provisions that need some immediate attention, so this is the best way to go about doing that.
Okay, so based on the nominations from counselors, I nominate the following people for the Charter Review Committee: Kevin Clark, Tammy Mix, Denise Weber, Jim Beckstrom, and Jeremy Bales. Oh, sorry, Denise Weaver. Counselors, discussion.
Read those one more time.
Kevin Clark, Tammy Mix, Denise Weaver, Jim Beckstrom, and Jeremy Bales.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
Did you make the motion?
You made the motion.
Oh, I made the motion,
I'll
that's right.
second it.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
second it.
So there's a motion and a second to accept the nominations for the Charter Review Committee. Please vote. And with a vote of 4-0, the Charter Review Committee, as nominated, is accepted. That moves us to item B. I guess before I go to item B, I want to say thank you to the people who said they would serve on the Charter Review Committee. So another community volunteer position that we're very thankful that people want to serve. All right, now to item B, Stillwater Medical Center Trust Board. We have 2 members of the Stillwater Medical Center Trust Board who would like to be reappointed. I make a motion to reappoint Calvin Anthony and Lowell Bartow for another term on the hospital board. Is Is there discussion? Is there a second? We have a motion and a second to reappoint Calvin Anthony and Lowell Bartow to the Stillwater Medical Center Board. Please vote. And that was approved with a vote of 4-0. At this time, I'm going to recess this meeting and go to our SUA and CETA meetings, and then we'll come back to City Council for the executive sessions. So I call to order the Stillwater Utilities Authority December 7th meeting. Trustees, does anyone wish to remove an item on the consent docket?
Motion to approve consent docket.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket. Please vote. And the consent docket is approved with a vote of 4-0. That takes us to number 5, resolutions. Resolution number SUA-2015-10, a resolution certifying that a public hearing was conducted on December 2nd, 2015 for the purpose of receiving comment on potential environmental impacts of the Stillwater Utilities Authority proposed Water 2040 water distribution and storage projects.
Move approval.
Second.
Didn't we just do that one?
Yes, this is the same one, but both boards have to approve it.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second to approve. And with a vote of 4-0, that SUA-2015-10 is approved with a vote of 4-0. Reports from officers and boards. Mr. Dorman.
Nothing to report, ma'am.
Mr. McNichol.
No report.
Trustees.
Nothing, thank you.
Is there,
Adjourn.
we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please vote. And the Stillwater Utilities Authority meeting is adjourned with a vote of 4-0. That takes us to, I call to order the Stillwater Economic Development Authority December 7th meeting. On the consent docket, trustees, does anyone wish to remove an item or approve, make a
Are
motion
we
to approve?
removing item B? Or
Yes, I'm requesting that item B be removed.
Okay, so removing item B, trustees,
motion to approve consent
Second.
docket without item B.
we have a
Second.
motion and a second minus item B. Please vote. And that is approved with a vote of 4-0. And that takes us to items removed from the consent docket. Do I need to bring that one back?
No, ma'am, I'll just bring that item to the next
Okay.
CETA meeting.
Okay, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the Stillwater Economic Development Authority for December 7th. Please vote, and with a vote of 4-0, Stillwater Economic Development Authority is adjourned. We will move back to I will reconvene the Stillwater City Council meeting. Is there a motion and a second to reconvene?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to reconvene the Stillwater City Council meeting. Please vote. And we are reconvened with a vote of 4-0. Mr. Dorman, we'll move into executive session now. Do we vote? Okay. Do we have a vote?
Motion to go into executive session.
We have a motion and a second to move into executive session.
Motion.
Please vote. And we're moving into executive session with a vote of 4-0.
We were going to vote now.
For Norm.
Yeah.
We only voted yes, so you can get some.
We'd have had it too. We could have taken this one.